Hello and welcome back to Planet Coaster. Today is the day we've been waiting for a little while. It is Alpha 2. We're looking at the Pirates Cove right now, as this is actually going to be the last time we're going to be loading up this map. I don't know what it is with Alpha 2, but I know other people are having some problems with their parks, and I am one of them. I'm getting a lot of random rotations on a lot of my decorations. And also my coasters are broken, and there's no way to fix it currently with how the new station fits into the train. I would have to rework buildings and rewrap them around the coaster station to make things work. So I'm just giving you guys kind of initially here some of the features that are in Alpha 2 that are pretty cool, and we'll start working on a new park, which I hope you guys like. I don't really know the name of it yet, but I'm sure you guys will come up with something cool. So, obviously, these are the new stations, which are nice. They actually have the entry rails here to kind of divide the crowd up and to align you with the cart that you're going on. Mine are backwards. I could delete the path here and make it a queue line and possibly get it to work, but I've been having trouble with my other ones, which is actually oriented correctly, but they still aren't getting inside of the thing. So, to me, it's not really worth the time to nitpick and fix the thing. Here's the coaster kind of arriving at the station. A nice cool thing, though, with the new coaster builder, now that it is actually fully out, so I can turn this off, and we can go into the palette, and we can actually customize our track colors and everything. So you can go in, customize the main track, kind of supports there, and then maybe, let's make it blue. So this is, I guess, the center line and parts of the, the webbing, you could say, kind of these middle bars here. And the third one, let's make it yellow. I guess it's the main track again, in case you want to be separate from the rails. And the fourth one will make it orange, is the supports, it looks like. So you can definitely get some interesting colors. I'm definitely going with the puke combination on that one, and which is really cool. What is going on here? Like a completely messed up wall. Yeah, so yeah, there's just some things wrong with it for sure. Another cool feature is these cannons. These ones that we've had for a while, these normal ground cannons actually fire, which is pretty cool to see. If we go over to our fort, they've been angled all the wrong direction, but our fort is basically covered in fog with how many cannons we did put on the thing. So that can be pretty cool. I'm sure you could do some pretty cool stuff with that. Over here, I'm actually going to show you guys some cool new things as well. They added some effects and things of this nature. So we have some bubbles, we have confetti, we have kind of these electrical sparks. This one, I guess you can embed into a wall far enough to hide the mechanism. This one is like a antenna. I wonder if people are going to make some sort of Frankenstein ride. That would be pretty cool. Gotta have your flamethrowers, your smoke, some additional sparks. These will be great for your fountains, from steam to bursts of water. And then there are some more, but I'm not going to show 100% of them in this early part, because I need to get started on the new park here soon, this episode. We actually got some new shrubberies, which is nice. We don't have to embed the trees into the ground as much, though I'm sure we will, just to keep adding some variation. And I'm sure you could even put some of these into trees to make it look like maybe springtime, fall time. If you use this, you could probably make some type of plum tree using these orange leaves here. Some smaller ferns and things. They added 2 new rocks as well in the scenery. We got some new building elements. Plenty of doors. These aren't even all the doors here. There's probably another 5 or so that were added, so that's really nice. We have some proper column pieces, some new signs for the new rides coming out. If you actually click on these, which are pretty nice, this is actually one whole building. I am surprised. They added a new rotation tool, so if you press X, you get the nice XYZ coordinate kind of drag system, which is pretty cool. And then if you press X again, you get the full 360 rotation kind of orbit lines. So you can definitely fine-tune many objects like this. I wonder if we can do that to walls. That's something I haven't tested. There are some new wall pieces. So X does absolutely nothing to walls. So it doesn't look like you can rotate walls to be flat and use them as roof pieces. Kind of a shame. They've also added some new window pieces as well, which I can show you guys later, and we'll probably be making good use of them. There's a really large gate here, which would have been nice for the fort gate earlier. Some proper deck pieces, which are really nice as well. And then if we kind of pop over here, you can see kind of the new rides. We have a proper full-sized Ferris wheel, which looks pretty cool. It's nice and slow and all of that. Now, I'm not going to ride these, as I feel like there's nothing really to look at. And over here, we have a new one as well. I think this is the kickflip right here. And this is quite the crazy contraption going around here. Now, I don't know if this dual hammer swing was in before. I don't quite remember seeing it, but I could be wrong. But I'm pretty sure it's new, and that's pretty nice. It's a very modern kind of thing. Over here, this is like I guess these are like sleds, and it's a simple go around kind of area. There's a brain in the jar. That'd be pretty cool for a Frankenstein theme set. So maybe that's what they're hinting at for the fantasy that's coming out soon. Maybe that'll fit in somewhere. Some new pathing tools as well. You guys probably noticed some dirt pathing that leads into just grass, though there are some problems involved with these. So, you know, use them or try to use them correctly. Essentially what it's trying to do here in between these two paths is to make a dividing line, which I don't like for the nature ones. It's fine over here dividing the concrete path from nature, but the nature ones in between themselves shouldn't have it, in my opinion. It should be a nice smooth kind of transition there. You can also do sharper angles here. You can see how sharp we can get the path to the others. You do that just by holding down Z here. Let's grab actually a piece. Pop that out. Get it relatively close. Let's get it closer to, oh, nope. Let's get it closer to this side so you guys can see just how sharp this can be. So you can do really nice curves at this point in time. I mean, we didn't have this kind of power before, so that's really nice. They added stairs onto the steepest slope on your pathing as well, which looks pretty cool. And also you can do curved slopes. So I think that's about all I want to summarize here initially in the first 10 minutes or so of the video. Sadly, we are moving on from Pirates Cove, but I hope you guys enjoyed this build, and we're going to go ahead and start a new park. So I'm not going to touch on the terrain tools here, as I'm pretty sure I'm going to be talking about that in the speed build section. So hope you guys enjoy that, and I'll see you guys here soon. And now we are at our new park. Different terrain than the last one. It is a little bit more flat, though there are some rolling hills. I didn't want to use the complete flat sandbox map, as I feel having some natural terrain can sometimes inspire you to build things in a different way than you normally would if you had all the options open to you at once. And so that's why we're using this map here. Going to be testing out some of the new pathing system pretty much immediately. What we're going to be building is a Roman district first, as I feel like with the new columns that they added with the patch, I think this will probably do the best to start out with, as there's already some really good assets to use. Now, to widen this path, what I'm doing is holding the Z key, and that allows you to get a nice, really pinned, point angled kind of a connection on pathing. It's kind of a new feature for Alpha 2, and that's what I'm using here. And you can kind of make I guess, in my opinion, a little bit more of a plaza feel, though it's not really a plaza. As you can see, there's still that gap between the two pathing systems, so it's still a work in progress. I don't know if they ever really plan on adding those kind of plaza elements that everyone's kind of clamoring for right now, but hopefully they will at some point. This is the Triumph Arch here, and we really need to get the proportions pretty much right. Going for kind of a giant order with the pillars. The base pillars actually aren't really tall enough to give that feel, and so I had to kind of add on the miscellaneous pieces to get that height. Now, sadly, one, I forgot to pause the time because I'm so used to not having the night cycle be an issue on camera, but that's the bonus of using this map as well. We'll actually get to play some lighting and do some pretty cool lighting effects, hopefully. So, gonna be boxing in the structure, trying to get some type of general shape. I'm not really copying a specific Triumph Arch from the Roman period. I'm sure many of you might bring up the one maybe in Paris, but the Paris one only has the center archway. It doesn't have the two on the side on the front end, so it's a little bit different than that, but they all follow kind of the same theme. Relatively tall with a large solid section that would tell a story. Sadly, we don't have many inlays to use in that case, but using what I have, I think everything turned out fine, even though there are some skips in the footage eventually. So, I did build this, in my opinion, very poorly, thinking about it. So, the reason I say that is that we have the copy and paste function for buildings, right? So I could have just built one half of it and then copied it over, but here early on, for some reason, I was just worried about getting the whole thing constructed, and so a lot of the time you'll find me working on areas that are really just redundant and not a good workflow process. I'm still trying my best to kind of learn kind of a good workflow for Planet Coaster, as you know, this is still kind of my first coaster simulation tycoon game that I've really stuck with for a long period of time. So hey, you gotta learn somehow, and so this is me learning, and you guys get to go through some of the growing pains with me, and hope you guys can suggest anything if you see anything off, and we can both hopefully grow together in this wonderful adventure. So the nice thing that we are building this park is the other day they actually announced a contest for Planet Coaster, and they're taking submissions until July 1st, where people can submit their own park. The winner gets to get flown out to Britain and have dinner with the development team, tour the studio, things like that. And so this one, in the long run, is going to be my submission to that contest. Now, normally for contests, people will generally want to keep what they're building secret, but for me, it's content, and really, if I can inspire people to join the contest and make it more competitive, I think that's great for the community in general. So, I'm not worried about, hiding any techniques here. It's just all what we've seen already, and besides, Sofrat's probably going to win. Anyways, if you guys have seen his videos, they're pretty crazy, especially Grizzly Hills. I'd suggest go watching that pretty much right now. In fact, stop the video and just go watch that. Much better than this. Laying a bunch of layers down, trying to get kind of the front facade that sticks out from the main structure after the pillars, and this would be the kind of storytelling elements for the Triumph Arch. And the small band would usually probably have a small story, maybe two armies clashing, possibly I guess traveling, something not quite 100% part of the main story that the rest of it would portray, but we don't really have many small figurine pieces to use, so I'm just kind of inlaying patterns and things to try and just make it look a little unique. Am trying to bounce off. If you change the where you're actually touching to, you'll notice that I touch the left side if I want the thing to be facing to the right, and then I drag it over, and that's just using the align to surface function to hopefully its fullest. I'm still probably not the best at it. Another thing that's a problem is, one, it's 3 wide right now, the structure, which is bad because at the finale or ending of it, it's going to be a 2 wide structure because the 3 wide just didn't set well with how tall it is. It felt too bulky and not tall enough. So we end up changing that. And then when we copy this side over for the back wall, the front pillars actually don't carry with it. With the new alpha, I've been having some problems with the copy and paste function. It's not working quite how it did previously, which is a little bit of a problem, but hopefully I can get that straightened out as soon as possible. And then also the movement keys are getting stuck, so moving things in the planar direction, left, right, up, down. After I'm finished moving something and I place an object, it likes to stick to where it was, and so when I place an object again, it kind of teleports away. So you have to make sure to tap shift or control just once, just to reset its kind of positioning here in the Alpha 2. Here is the kind of upper kind of main imagery area for the arch, which looks pretty cool. It's not quite to its full height yet. I think there's a railing to add and maybe just a little bit more in terms of using the molding. And then here, testing to make sure the copy and paste at least starts at the same height, which is a problem. In fact, you really need to, if you're going to do this copy and paste kind of thing, I really suggest copying that early on in the build, just to make sure things are lining up rightly, because sometimes the terrain can start things out at different heights, and so therefore the grid is going to be off, and at that point you're going to be very upset about that. Some side pillars here, just trying to mix in some possible windows to increase just the overall feel of it, and then maybe these wooden pieces. I'm just trying to think of ways to get this to go flush back into the building, and the way that I end up settling is putting the flat square plaster window and actually sloping that into the building over time. And I figured that was a good use of it, at least from what I can see. It also makes it look a little bit more bulky and boxy, which is great. Trying to put in as many layers as possible in this build, because this would have been quite the elaborate sculpture and just storytelling element of the whole thing. It's gonna be basically all this plaster that you see on the sides, the interior, the ceiling, everything is going to be slowly covered with a lot of this marble kind of texture that we have here. There will still be some plaster elements exposed, but over a course of a build, I feel like maybe a break in color every now and then is always a good thing to have. So that's why it's going to look like this. Here you can see I'm still building on the opposite side where I don't have to be, and still wasting a lot of time. This was quite a long process for me to build, though using the new directional tools. If you press X, is it X? I think it's X. You can you get the nice XYZ kind of drag lines, which is great for moving objects around. And then also if you press X again, you get the nice orbit lines as described earlier in the video, and a lot of potential for builds using those things there. But here you can see just how wide this thing is, and I'm sure it's probably bugging you all. It started bugging me later on as we start moving on from the front to the sides, and then at some point I realized that I should just copy the thing, and I don't know what I'm doing, wasting a lot of time. And I really should have done also a lot more work on the interior before copying it, as that would have saved a lot of time as well. But hey, this is why I enjoy building. I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't enjoy it. It's not very often where I get to find a really nice kind of building tool here. In fact, part of me maybe wants to hint at some sort of Bridgehaven elements here in the park somewhere eventually, as I figured if we can't finish that medieval engineers, I might as well build it here, because at least I'll be able to build something in the way that I want it to, and it won't lag. And you know, things will float and hopefully look pretty good. Again, don't know what I'm doing with that centerpiece. I'm trying to inlay some doors because I know, say like the Pantheon, there are some doors there that have some really nice sculpted elements, and they use brass to do that kind of stuff. I forget the name of it. It's like door to shoot. My art history is just not good since I left college. It's just one of those things where you look at so many slides and you study it for a test and you immediately forget the knowledge. But I forget the name of the art piece itself and who did it. But go look it up. It's really good. Google search that. We have Google, right? Go do that for everything. You know, references for what you want to build. Art. I like art. Hope you guys like art. If you're watching this, kind of implies that you at least like looking at it. We did a good bit of a time skip here. You'll notice the arch is actually a lot more skinny now. There's some additional pathing because I'm going to make this kind of a plaza. And then we have a lantern, and I'm going to be lining these lanterns with the natural stubs here that the pathing system kind of automatically generates, as I figured that's a decent spacing to use. Some rings on it, as the one in Paris. It does have this kind of chain link kind of separator around the like road from the plaza itself, but we don't really have a chain item, so I figured the rings will kind of give off a, hey, if it needs to be rubbed off, it possibly could. Gonna introduce some stones and then mess with the texture tool. The texture tool is really nice. Unlike Men of War Assault Squad 2, you can actually blend things on one layer, which is great. It's far more quick to do this kind of painting than anything else. But trying to use some light stone textures around the path just so it looks like the grass has been stepped on a little bit maybe, and you know, they keep it trimmed back a little bit. And then also some sand underneath some of the rocks where maybe the grass just doesn't grow there for some odd reason. I don't know. I'm just playing with textures at this point and trying to get some cool effects. Obviously, going to be using some of the new bushes and shrubberies to bring in some nice color. And then we're gonna leave some just exposed pillars here. Now, I didn't know if I could fit a sculpture element on top, but nothing really looked Roman enough for me, so I decided to just put the flat window there to kind of cap it off and square it up. And then we'll put some nice little metal rings on it just for an additional detail. Here is a picnic table, a proper one. Using the new balcony element, they removed the railing and detached that from the model and gave us just the floor, so I can actually make a decent looking picnic table using the roof trim and the balcony now. So I think that looks great here. It kind of implies that people can sit, relax around this magnificent kind of opening, welcoming structure to the park. And then we're gonna lay out some side pathing and also some additional paths to make it a little bit wider to kind of imply a road and sidewalk function, which I see a lot of people do in these parks. I don't know why they do it like this, but hey, I think it looks cool, so I'm gonna go ahead and use it. And that's a great thing about having a creative community like this, is all the ideas that people share and people start to use in their own way. And then also that little strip of green in between the kind of wider path and the skinny sidewalk kind of creates a really nice effect, kind of an additional layer of depth. And then here you'll notice that, hey, didn't finish the interior before copying it over, so we're gonna have to go inside this tight space to try and put in the rest of this marble and stone to make it look as good as possible. Try and cover up all that plaster. That way it looks like it can actually hold its own weight, which is very important for me. As you know, just from maybe watching my Medieval Engineer series, that structural integrity, or at least things that look like it can support itself, I find to be probably one of the most important things when you're doing a creative build. If it doesn't look like it can support its own weight, the whole kind of illusion just falls apart for me. So using doors and setting it to lose the door texture It's a great way to get some cool arches, and even merging some of the flutes on the columns, you get some really nice, it's almost like a Nordic kind of crossing pattern there, which I'm very fond of. So that kind of happened by chance, just with how things lined up in here. And I really just like that pattern and created up there where the arches are connecting and overlapping a little bit. I think that's a pretty cool effect in general. And then once this is all finished up, that'll be pretty much it for the speed build. And then of course, we'll slowly do some nice panning shots just so you can see it. And then also probably some night shots this time, unlike the last part, where you guys can see maybe some of the lighting. There are some lights here around the courtyard. You guys might have seen them already. It's just nice, clean, white lighting for nighttime. I don't really know if I should be messing with color lighting with the rum section or not. It might be a little bit more too fantasy. And, you know, for this, I kind of wanted a really nice, clean look with all the lighting and white marble, and make it look really majestic and pretty awe-inspiring, hopefully from a distance. And so as we move on to other areas of parks, obviously we're going to have a courtyard surrounding some sort of eye-catching piece to draw people in, and then there'll be restaurants and things surrounding that, and of course roller coasters once we get to that. Other Roman structures that I plan on building here before the speed build section ends, I want our first coaster to be around the Library of Alexandria. So that's kind of the next build here after this. And so let's go ahead and look at some pretty cool shots and imagery, and we'll go ahead and wrap up the episode after that. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed the wonderful speed build today. You know, again, sorry that Pirates Cove kind of got ruined. Well, not ruined, it's just unplayable. But hey, you know, whatever. I'm excited for this. This looks amazing, and I'm happy with it, and I hope you guys are too. If you guys are, feel free to leave a comment down below on maybe what to build next, what might need changed, what you think of it. Go ahead and leave a like so I know you guys enjoyed this series. Go ahead and subscribe if you're new. Check out my other videos. You guys know what to do. And I'll see you all next time in some Planet Coaster.